The M1 carbine is an 85-year-old platform with the reputation of being weak, expensive, and designed during the birth of the intermediate cartridge. Most people would look at this today as an antiquated and expensive platform to run with very little in terms of upward mobility and capability. Very few take the time to do a really deep dive trying to bring this old piece of tech to the modern age. Getting to the thesis, is the M1 carbine able to be brought into the 21st century? If it can, is it any good? As this is a primer, there's going to be a lot more of theory in this versus actual hard data, minus what can be found online. Starting bare bones, the run-of-the-mill carbine will run you with wood furniture, irons only, and 6 pounds loaded with an 18-inch barrel and 19 FPS with 110 grains of fury. Unlike this, which as you can see has been modified to better suit the needs of a more modern shooter. Oh, and did I mention from anywhere from $600 to $1,000, used with decently reproduction brands, like Auto Ordnance and Inland. New run about $1,500 to $1,800, which is very expensive for the modern age, again. The keener among you may have noticed, hey, 1900 FPS and 110 grains, that sounds like supersonic 300 blackout numbers. You'd be correct. 30 carbine is much smaller bullet and way less modern in design, with a different ballistic nose shape and less susceptible to going through the air straight and like a normal. As Paul Harrell has found, 30 carbine is much more akin to 357 Magnum in terms of relative performance. This is especially true when you consider that 300 Blackout is hitting those velocity numbers, again, sub 2,000 feet per second and 110 grains of bullet, out of a barrel half the length, usually around 9 inches or shorter. Now, shorter barrels for the carbine exist, usually around 12.5 inches, but that data and information will have to wait until I actually have one. Again, stating this as a primer. Ballistics aside, what can we do to bring this to the 21st century, aside from the obvious here? Believe it or not, there are quite a few things you can add capability. Aftermarket stocks are a big thing. Synthetic stocks with AR buffer tube adapters, or even the paratrooper stock can even be a step up compared to what this has to offer. The big thing that you should probably put on first, if you don't go with a chassis system, but I don't like them because I think they're personally really fucking ugly, is a railed top guard. This is an Ultimac handguard. It runs you about $110 from their website, and they make them for newer production guns like your Auto Ordnance and your Inlands, and they make them for old GI furniture guns as well. The profile is a little bit different. These go on with a little bit of minor fitting, and they're not exactly hard to do. I had to remove some material from my stock to get this one to fit. I can show pictures on screen. And all in all, it's been a very good rail. The Ultimac rails come in either a full Picatinny or a direct route for the Aimpoint Micro / Tier 2 near the rear end. Both options will be fine depending on the setup. I, obviously, went with the full top rail and currently use Primary Arms 1X Prism with a Streamlight HLX. Now, mounting the light has been a little bit of a weird thing. I originally had a straight adapter to try to get this to mount, because the mount that this came with would get in the way of the optic. You don't have a lot of room here, so you have to get it to swivel off to the side. This mount is a Meteorite Concepts mount that they make for the Surefire Pro bodies. Now on my AR, I use a Surefire Pro Lite, so I just had this Picatinny mount laying around. All I needed to buy was the adapter for the Scout Lights, and this ProTech went straight on. Again, Meteorite Concepts, not sponsored, but they're pretty cool. It only ran me $40 for this, and it seems to be working just fine. Obviously, as you can see, there's no night vision capabilities with this. You can passive through the optic, but that can get hit or miss. There are other concerns when shooting passively with gas coming from your ejection port. Again, all your bullets come out here. Granted, they shoot out to the side, so I'm not exactly super worried about cases coming straight up and hitting my tube, but around this area is where your tube's going to reside. And, on top of head position, tube placement, head position. As you can notice here, there's not exactly a very tall height or bore for this gun. In fact, it's about an inch and a quarter. Don't remember what the number is off the top of my head, you'll have to forgive me. But your stock position is more akin to that of like a 1.93 on an AR mount. stock sweeps down. Your chin has to sit a little bit higher. Mine personally sits right around here-ish. And I can get a pretty good sight picture through the optic. This puts the stock lower and all sorts of other crazy things, but you probably already know that. Moving forward on the gun, we have different control layouts than your normal AR. This I've outfitted with a rotary safety, but they do not come like this. They usually come with a push button safety like the normal M1s. This was an addition made to the M2. This isn't a history video. You can watch Forgotten Weapons on there. But this is absolutely mandatory if you really want to run and gun with this. Using a push button safety is all fine and good when you're shooting at the range, but when you're moving and shooting, you need this, because this is more easily allow you to take the gun. God forbid I'm running and I need to move. I'm going and I can shoot. I go to move, flip it forward, and it's back on safe. You can go and do what you're going to do. You're not really worried about accidentally shoving your finger in the trigger guard and doing weird shit. That being said, the safety is also in a weird position. In a normal AR, you're actuating it with your thumb, going up and down and doing it like normal. With this, as you saw, I'm doing it with my index finger because, again, it's on the right side of the gun. This is, I'm not going to say suboptimal, but it's not what you're used to. And it takes a little bit of training to get over it, but it's not horrible. I don't mind it. And it's also right there for the magazine release, which is also a push button, which is kind of a carryover from the AR. Looping myself back to the Ultimac rail system, as you'll notice, this is connected to the barrel and the receiver. This is not a free float system. This gun, without a lot of modification, will not be free float. So you really have to take into more consideration of what you mount up here and what its effect is going to be on POI shift, anything like that. And, as you see, the stock also is connected to the barrel from this little guy right here. This barrel band retains the front end of your stock to the actual receiver itself, because when you take it apart, it lifts up and then just pulls out. The index is off of this little guy in the back, and my cat is photobombing me. Fuck you, dude. This little tab in the back here, and then slides right in. But this I would not recommend for mounting a sling to, because if you pull on it weird, it gets caught on something and you go to shoot, you're going to have a POI shift. It's this far out on the barrel, about halfway, and it's just not going to be a good day. Otherwise, it is a very good system if you can get over the fact that you're not going to have a truly free float system, which is good for if you're mounting vertical grips, other shit like that on there, but for as light as this recoils and as light as it is, this gun is 5 pounds. As configured, this gun is 5 pounds, nothing, it is straight up 5 pounds, which is amazing when you consider that an AR with around the same is going to be about 6, maybe 7 pounds. Want to add more capability, like a bigger optic, like an LPVO, that's going to be 7 or 8 pounds. Mine, with a light optic and sling, is sitting around 10, but I also have a 16-inch barrel. Another weird issue, magazines. These are the 30s. Your more reliable ones are going to be your 10s and 15s, but the weird thing about these magazines is how you're retaining them. This is a standard Gen 3 PMag, windowed because Gucci or whatever the fuck. But if I kind of overlay these for you, you'll start to notice something. These both hold the same amount, but one is way smaller than the other, and a little bit thinner too, depending on how you look at it. Actually put this in the light so you can see it. Retaining these is weird, because you can't exactly use a normal rifle magazine pouch because they'll just wiggle in there. I've not had one wiggle out yet, but I know it will. It's not tight. And you can't use a pistol pouch because they're too tight. They just won't fit. What I am going to be trying is using a FN57 magazine pouch. There's a few companies that make them. And like I said, it's something that I need to try. This is a primer. This is just getting introduced to the platform and where things are going to go. So, if you've probably seen this on my channel before, it's because I shoot two-gun with this, and I'm going to continue to shoot two-gun with this exclusively for the rest of 2025, and probably into a little bit of 2026 as well. But anyway, this is my M1 carbine. I hope you had a good day looking at my horrible, horrible abomination that I'm now really self-conscious about looking at. And I don't know when I'm going to make an update on this. Probably when I buy a second carbine. And yeah, you'll see this thing again when I post my two-gun match footage. And it's going to be fun. Ammo's kind of expensive to feed in this. I stated in the beginning when I had this way better scripted, by the way, because I'm going completely freeball right now. Sits at around 50 cents a round in gun stores. You can find it online cheaper for, I want to say, right around 40-ish, 30-ish. It's expensive compared to 5.56, but it's not as expensive as some people say it is. Currently looking at AmmoSeek, I am seeing 48 to 49 cents with free or conditional free shipping. So, not horrible. A little bit more than your standard 5.56. It's a little bit closer to 300 Black Rock. I think it is slightly cheaper. But, yeah, this is a very fun gun, and if you don't have one, I suggest you buy one. And setting it up like this is also very fun, because it's light, and it's fun to shoot. And light guns are fun, because, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to stop yapping and get to editing this, because, God, I'm going to hate the sound of my voice when I'm done with this. First actual video. Yep.
Los pingüinos me la van a mascar.